Perfect. So we are going to be looking at OKRs, which is objective key results. Basically, these are the numbers that we could place on our objectives, what we're trying to do, what we are setting out to do, and how can we measure our progress to make sure that we are actually have an indication of real progress, because we realize that movement does not necessarily mean progress. So we have to be very clear in order to prevent being like a bunch of busy work and being busy and not really ever getting ahead. We need some sort of metrics that we can see as an indicator of where we're going. So we have opened this document. This is a template for KPIs, key performance indicators. Let's do a little review. Last time that we spoke, we talked about this. And basically the purpose of this conversation was to take what we already knew, such as like SMART goals, this acronym, and OKRs, and we compared it to key performance indicators. Whenever we're learning a new subject, it's a really good idea to take the new information that you're getting and ask yourself, how does this fit with some of the information I already have? The sooner you can create that bridge, that kind of like bridge in your mind, so that, oh, a KPI is kind of like an OKR. We're kind of familiar with that already. We use this every week and every month, every quarter, every year in our strategic meetings. So when we see that connection, it'll help our minds faster. And what we were going to do is, we read through this document, we realized there's a lot of jargon that was kind of confusing. And it's been a while since we had gone over these watchwords, so I hope that we didn't just lose a lot of it, but we'll probably have to review a little bit. So what we want to do now is try to go through 15. We can go through these together and see what's taking place. You see the very first header in the top left corner where it says strategic goal? Are we able to pull it up on there too, so that the video is able to see the screen that we have? Do you guys see it?
I see it.
Okay. What does it say? Would you like to read that one?
It says name the strategic objective.
Or the header. The header
Oh,
will help
strategic goal.
And then you can read. Go ahead.
Oh, name the strategic objective, which is being assessed with this indicator, and the objective is from the strategy map.
Do you guys remember when we looked at our mission, our vision, and our strategy?
Like the battle board?
No. I'm talking about what this was last Thursday. It's Monday now. I know it's been a while, but what was our vision? Why are we here?
Right.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Riley training.
Close. That's our mission. That's what we're here to do.
What did you must have said vision. And
Yeah.
I thought you said mission. I'm sorry.
I think I said vision. What's our vision?
It is dedicate talents to Christ service.
Yeah. Sure. I see you wrote exactly what I wrote on the board. That's good. So you got our vision, our mission. Now, if our vision is to help people dedicate their talents to Christ's service, our mission is to rightly train the Army of Youth. What is our strategy? How are we going to rightly train the Army of Youth?
The value ladder.
I can't have Kathy getting all these answers. You're doing great, Kathy.
Yeah, that's good.
This is great. But I want to hear from other people too.
Okay.
Shh. Mom? You were here. How does the value ladder help to rightly train an Army of Youth?
Those are the steps that we're taking to reach the people and guide them through to guide them through a way that they could learn what they need to learn, and Plus, what they're able to do is to see things that we have available, and it's to rightly train them. Because there's a right way and there's a wrong way, and so it's a path that we're taking to train them, so that they have a good foundation. They don't go too fast or too far without, by leaving something behind. So that's our path, what we do.
Yes.
Our steps that we take to get them there.
Yeah. Because when you're looking at, that was good, Mom. When you're looking at the strategy of rightly training your Army of Youth, there's many different ways or media that we could choose. Like we can train them through a live event, through a digital course, through podcasts, through interviews, through documentaries, a series of pamphlets, Bible study guides. We do it through coaching. We could do it through video, audio, small groups, creating communities. We could do it through the written word, the spoken word. And there's different forms or modes of training that we could provide. But we're choosing to start here. Now this can expand, but this is where we're choosing with this value ladder to have things set in place. But we want to use some of these different things, but we have to choose to start somewhere. So that's our strategy. And so basically when trying to figure out the key performance indicator, we cover the how. That's a strategy. Who would like to read the second part?
Where do you mean the second part?
Right here.
Oh, that one? Okay. I'm putting... I'm sorry.
Carmen, you want to read it?
The audience.
Correct.
Says, name the key audience for this indicator and clarify who will have access rights to it.
So that's our that's our Daniel. I forget what it's called. Our avatar.
That is a great guess. I was thinking that too when I first saw it, but actually, we're talking about KPIs. So that for identifying the key audience
Oh, that's
for the indicator,
Oh,
the
so-
OKR.
so. Then that would be the person who's in charge of the area. Like we have a YouTube person, and we have a
What'd you call that ladder?
Value ladder. That's what this is right here, just strategy.
Thank you.
That's like the management team.
Yeah, so here's an
Manage
example.
different
Last
departments.
week, we talked about the webinar, and we were looking at what are ways that we can identify the metrics for the webinar. So the KPI is, like, let's say it's number of registrants for the webinar. So the KPI, that's how what we're going to, that's the key performance that we're measuring.
That we're after.
This is identifying, well, who needs to know that? Not everybody needs to know that. Nikisha, who is writing our newsletter, she probably doesn't need to know or really want to know about how many people are registering for the webinar.
Or have access to it.
But who's invested in knowing that?
I am.
Okay, yeah,
You are.
yeah.
The people who are closely working in that area.
Who else? Who's inviting people to a webinar?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All of us are.
Go ahead, Diana. Okay,
I guess I'm off target.
so, that's right. So
Anybody who's working toward it.
yes.
Even if they're putting together an invitation or,
Right.
like an ad or something.
Yeah, so the key audience here is not the entire ministry, it's for the specific people that is relevant.
That word
To
audience
that.
throws it off.
Yeah,
That's
I
like
know.
the key workers.
But you have to understand, this is written by, like, it's really written to, like, a larger corporation in the tech world, these big tech companies.
Okay.
So that's why Sebastian broke this down for me to help me to understand, because you're right, it's using like a bunch of jargon and
Well,
stuff that is kind of different. So I'm trying to bridge the gap. The audience
you.
is not the public audience, it's us. It's
Us,
who are the
yes.
specific people. Just replace audience with people.
Or
with workers.
how about staff?
Yeah.
Staff is a little more different than the
Our workers
Those
or
are
volunteers.
just, well, workers is everybody's a worker that's in the ministry.
Yeah, but
But
it's
it's
the key
key
ones.
key workers. So the word
Oh,
key
key
means
workers?
specific.
Okay.
So it
I
could
mean,
be
like
key
when,
staff, key.
as I say, well, yeah, key workers, that's definitely it. And there's also staff is
volunteers.
people that are working on projects without just the workers themselves. Like when you're even in a camp, your staff are the people of leadership.
Yeah.
And you have workers in every department. But
Yeah.
when you see somebody wearing a staff shirt, you know that they are a go-to person no matter what.
Yeah. It's true.
That's all.
But it really depends on what the
What
KPI
is.
is.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's why we have to identify who is a key audience or the key workers, key staff.
Key.
Because depending on what the KPI is, depends on who your audience you communicate it with.
Right.
Because whether
What
it's
do we
creating
call our
quote
workers?
cards,
Don't we call them volunteers?
yeah, workers,
Those are
volunteers, an
volunteers.
army of workers as our youth, rightly trained.
That's good.
So, like, yeah, soldiers, new recruits, whatever, it all works. So, like, think about quote cards. As we're sending out quote cards, if there's one that gets like 20,000 views and it reaches 20,000 people, who needs to know that? That's like
Everybody does.
yeah, everybody
'Cause
ought to
that's really
know.
encouraging.
That is a very encouraging
we're
method,
going out
and
to do.
especially when you attach that result, that testimony to every individual who played a part in making that a
Yes.
reality and reaching those souls, people would get really encouraged by that.
Everybody would
excited.
get, like you said, encouraged because what that does is it causes people to want to be involved in something that's actually working.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
And-
plus, they know that it's working, and they're not spinning their wheels.
That's what people want to be involved in.
The entire purpose of this conversation is to how do we know if it's working? And it's these measurements. That's a key performance
do
indicator.
we
It's
need
an
to do?
indication that our performance is actually working.
Amen.
And so that's why we realize that this is a weak part, that we, as a ministry, we, as leadership, we have been struggling with identifying these things, so we're trying to study this to get better. Okay, so the third one. Who wants to read that for us?
I will whenever nobody wants to.
Key performance questions.
Yes.
Name the performance question this indicator is helping to answer. Key performance questions. Name the performance questions this indicator is helping to answer.
That's just saying to make a question for the indicator. We have to find out the questions we're looking for. So that's what that is.
I still have questions on the other one. I hate that we moved forward so fast.
Oh, no, go ahead. What's your
Okay,
question?
so on our chart that we're looking at, we have all these yellow blocks. We have the left column, the right column, the KPI 1, KPI 2. What column are we working under? This is a column.
We're not.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out what these.
Oh,
are.
we're just.
And
Let's-
this is
let's
the
say there's
first
3
question.
columns.
Okay.
If there's 3 columns, we're really only looking at the first
The
column.
first one, but we're not trying to answer them. I mean, because nothing goes in those ones right now.
There's
Okay.
nothing
Yeah.
in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
it's like the first one would be a question that we would put there. What question are we looking for? Like
Okay. So so we're brainstorming. So when we set on the audience and access, then name the key audience for this indicator and clarify who will have access rights to it. Have we came up with that, or we're just that's just
No.
a question?
Let me backtrack. I think giving you some more context will help you to understand why we're here, what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
So in our monthly meetings or weekly sprints, we're having a hard time identifying the measurement, the key results, and so recognizing that because we don't really have those numbers, then it makes it very difficult for us to know: am I actually succeeding? Am I hitting the targets?
Yeah.
We have a fuzzy targets to hit, and it makes it more difficult and not as rewarding, fulfilling for us who are laboring. So what we're trying to do is get better at that. I spoke to Sebastian about some progress report, and then his first question was like, "What's your KPI?" And I was like, "Well, we don't really have one." And he's like, "I realize that this is something we need to improve, and I'm not exactly sure where to improve." And so then he went on this. He went on this spiel for like 5-8 minutes that was showing the importance of having a measurement. It's like our speedometer, and how you could be going in town But imagine if your vehicle didn't have a speedometer. You have no idea to know if you're actually hitting the target. Like, you want to be able to measure your speed, because there's some zones you got to go 25, some you got to go 45, and you don't want to be going you don't want to be going 55 in an intersection, so to speak, where the speedometer tells you how far you're going. The RPM is just talking about movement. That's how many revolutions are taking place in your engine, but your RPM doesn't tell you if you're actually making progress, because you could be standing still revving your engine and the RPM will go. So in like manner, that's like we have a lot of movement and activity, but it's busy work, it's not real progress.
So on these ones that I'm seeing on the left, this left one right here, so I'm trying to figure out how it will actually indicate it.
Okay, so what he did is he gave me this document months ago. I went through the document, it was confusing. And then this last session we went through, I asked him, I'm like, okay, I realized I don't know how to do the KPIs. Could you teach me? And he's like, okay. So what we did is we went through that process.
And that's all that's
choosing.
on this left right here?
Yeah, we went through that. And so he was giving examples of how that would fit in our context.
Well, I agree with him. I mean, it's broken down so simple that it's made it complicated the way he's done it to me. But it seems simple to me because when we went through some of the trainings that you and I went through, one of the things it talked about was the noise, and the guy that has, what's that company, one of the largest companies in the world, the computer one, Intel, the head corporate guy, the owner, the guy that formed it all.
Yeah.
He was saying when they were trying to meet their objective, the problem that they ran into was noise. And noise is very busy work. It is like things that have to be done, but it's noise. You're really defeating your purpose of trying to reach the goal. So a lot of curriculum that's called noise. A lot of curriculum. Because when you're doing something, it should be the objective in mind, the big picture, what has to be done today. And it's amazing, and you get there a lot faster if you stick to the program than doing the noise. Because the noise will keep you busy. Busy. And that's what you want to cut out, is the noise of all the different things that need to be done to get there. What you need to do is, your key point, the way I understand it, is this ministry is all about duplicating, so somebody does not have to be, that they can, the stuff that you put on the internet is stuff that's duplicatable, so you can teach the program. So the duplication stuff is the key piece that you're doing with all this stuff. And then you have your workers, of course, training them so that they can go out into the world and use the gifts that they've learned here, the knowledge, to further their ministry and to do the army of youth, to actually change the world one person at a time through a soldier. The soldier's going out. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what I see is the reason the key performance is important is because it should eliminate the noise. Because there's too much noise. There's too many things we could be doing, but it's going to take a lot longer to get to the main picture of what you really want to do.
And it gives us a definite finish line to say, like, hey, this is, like, we hit the finish line. When we get to the finish line, we know it. It is clear. When we have a clear KPI.
And if we're off path,
yeah.
it'll help us
But
see that.
instead, like, or it's kind of like we're doing, what are those things called where you have a relay race? It's like we're doing this big
Passing the
marathon.
baton.
Like, making this vision, this right here is like a big marathon. But in that marathon, there's relay, there's checkpoints. And the KPIs kind of give us a checkpoint to help us be like, yes, we succeeded, we passed. It doesn't mean we're finished, but now we know we got a big milestone. So the KPI gives us those.
That's why you said what you said. This is milestones that helps the workers to accomplish their goals and to have success and to have victory, because we met this one and now we're moving on to the next one and the next one. Okay,
and to
so these
measure
are
that.
mile markers, and so to measure them to keep people also motivated.
Yes,
is the purpose of doing
exactly.
it. So we can see our accomplishments and we can reward and celebrate
And move forward.
milestones. Okay.
Exactly. And we've
That's
been
better.
operating without these because we're struggling to identify them. And in one of our recent leadership trainings, pioneer sessions, that was one thing that came out that was very strong, that was saying that it's like, well, we don't have the definite like this is what we've done, this is what we're trying to do, so it makes it hard. It always feels like we're doing something. We're always doing something different and changing, which like I don't really feel like we're like changing a lot. It's more of like, hey, we have to get this done. This is very important right now. We get to a point where it's like success. We made it, then we move on to the next project. But some people were wondering, it's like, well, I don't know why we switch. I was doing good here. But the thing is, like, if they start here and they keep going, it's going to neglect all this. But we only have to move forward to a point, move on to the next, and then we will repeat and enlarge. We work with, like, we're just kind of
so that's what
building
you're
that.
saying. Let me just clarify again too. So what you're saying is the workers, as they come on board, they can stay down this path and just go, and they outrun passing on the baton. They just keep going and they don't say stop right here because this person has to catch up in order to take the baton from them and run to the next level, because we're building the system, we're building the track.
Yeah, we're building the whole value ladder.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the problem you're running into, is some people know their field so well that they can just go and there's nowhere else to put it. There's nowhere to lay the
It's more about
track.
the communication, because it's like they're doing well, but they don't know when to switch.
Right.
And when we do switch, people don't know why we're switching, and they feel unfulfilled, like they haven't completed what they've done, because
Right.
there's always more work to do. So if we could find out how to put the KPIs in place, then they reach it, they're like, okay, that was a success. There's still more work to do, but then we can set a different KPI, and it doesn't feel like we're going from one failure to another to a bunch of unfinished work.
So the reason you're doing that, is it because there's not enough workers, so you have to remove one person from one area and put them into another area to get it caught up in that section? Or not really?
I mean, if we had more workers, then yeah, people would probably be able to focus more.
So in other words, they could be able to stay on that path that they're on, that they're just moving, accelerating it really fast. If we had a person in the other department that had that same ability, so
Yeah.
then neither one of them would have to slow down. They could just keep running the race.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great. That would be wonderful.
Okay, so but that's what we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's why growing our team is one of our monthly actions. It's a big,
Join our team. Okay.
big project for that. And we're making progress. The systems and onboarding and
Oh.
communications.
Whole lot more people working than we used to.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
I thought those were Cheetos. And you go
So,
clunk.
what have we found on this to be our number one thing that people are doing to onboard that makes people come on board and really serve? What is the one thing we're seeing out of all these different onboarding processes that are really making a difference for the people? Have we?
The number one biggest thing that I've seen, I'll say this. One of the biggest difficulties we've been experiencing is that people are struggling to communicate with individuals, and they're going from that shift from implementing to the shift to
Now you're talking about me.
leading. No. I'm talking about
No, it's okay.
a lot of us. I mean, we all go through that process
Talk
from
doing it too.
being like the technician to a manager, like just going from like doing the work to like helping the people. It's basically in that. It's the remember when I was talking about the rank advancement, where you have a partner assistant, where you're learning, and then you have a partner leader,
Right.
where you are teaching.
I remember that.
Yes. So
To,
that
to change the question again, is what is working the best so far? Because you said you've got a lot of workers coming on this last month. What was the main thing that really?
I'm telling you.
Oh, that.
So I'm
oh,
answering you.
I'm sorry.
The biggest challenge we're having is that people are learning how to do it, and they're getting very good at doing that.
Okay.
And then, when you learn something, you want to train someone else how to do what you do.
Okay.
And so the communication to do that, this transition from here to here, has been challenging for certain individuals, especially the communication part of training them how to do what you do. So what we've done is we have worked very closely with some people who have the skill and captured their knowledge, their skill, their ability, their training, and we have created a duplicatable system that you can scale for communicating and training them.
Okay.
And we put it in a step-by-step like checklist.
And that is where we've been seeing the growth.
Yes,
It's
the
doing the
onboarding
checklist
checklist.
and the, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of the thing that we're talking about. Key performance indicators. That is a key performance indicator, is it not? One of them.
Could be. We don't have them yet.
I was gonna say that should be one because we need to be seeing what works and what doesn't work, and scratching what doesn't work. And the ones that are really strong, that's our key. That is our key, right? So
But
that system.
the
Sorry.
the key performance indicator. So just to let you know, this terminology came from Sebastian and this resource, but this is really what we use in our meetings.
Okay.
I
But
mean the same.
yeah, they're the same thing. But like as far as like our OKRs, we have an objective, but we don't really have a key result, like a number attached to it. How do you put a numeric like number next to that's the onboarding checklist for training the new people?
Well, couldn't it be a 1 through 10? No. What do you mean?
Like how do you the growth like
How
we
do you
need-
measure it?
The growth?
Yeah, how do you measure the success with a number?
Wouldn't it be, in my opinion, what it would be is taking the number of people that have signed on for being onboarding to people that are actually involved afterwards, actually get plugged in, and do a percentage. You do a percentage. He's 100%.
That's what
or
would go right there.
Okay.
So you're saying
The number of people that we're in contact with or have onboarded through the website. What do you call it?
the enlist form?
The enlist form. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's other ways people are reaching out too that they're coming on, but they're not actually. They need to go through that process. Every person needs to go through that process, no matter who they are. That's the only way we're going to be able to really see what's really going on. Because people are coming on board just by visiting or knowing somebody, but they need to be directed to that. So we need everybody to go through that because it's part of our onboarding system.
Yes.
And that's where we're going to have to gauge it from. Everything's going to have to be gauged through that. So that needs to be the first step to see that. That's for working. That's not for how many people we're reaching through people touching
Right.
the screen and saying, oh, I like this, I like, and share. That's a whole different process. But the people for a performance, I mean, this is where we get our workers from. So this
Yeah.
would be a worker one.
Yeah, and we would have the different OKRs depending on the different objectives.
So do we have that already set up, like different OKRs for
No,
each department?
that's what we're
Okay.
trying to set up.
So then we would need departments for the OKRs. So one would be, what is that one that you call for the internet where people are interested and they share? What is that called?
Affiliate.
No.
Is it the affiliate?
Affiliate marketing?
Is that what it's called?
When
Affiliate
people
marketing?
share the content?
Yeah, like for instance, if somebody sends me an email, I mean not email, but I see it on Facebook and I was like, oh, I'm going to share that with all my other Facebook friends.
Oh.
What is
Uh-huh.
that?
That's what social media.
Oh, social media. So that would be an OKR too, right? It would have its own OKR.
Yeah, each social platform, like Facebook, would have their own metrics for engagement,
Okay.
for how many people shared or posted or engaged with their content.
And are you saying we have those already set up for each one of those departments?
Facebook gives us all the information. YouTube gives us all those details.
Awesome.
But
Awesome.
the only ones that people are looking at, Kim looks at the YouTube and Facebook. I don't think anyone looks at our Instagram.
Okay.
There's
Oh, was
not.
she tall?
Yeah,
Isn't she?
but I don't know if Chital knows how to.
Okay.
She's learning and she's focusing and she's growing quickly, but I don't think she knows how to.
And so those ones, so the social media ones are covered. So now we have the.
they're not covered. We don't have any
But
OKR
well, they're
systems
getting
yet.
there. They're getting there. But do we have a page for it? Do we have a place that they can go and start logging on to it? That all the leaders know to go to their department and log that on their OKR sheet?
No, we don't have any place to.
Because the leaders of every department should have access to an OKR for their department. So we can always do, when we do our report at the end of the month, that we can read off the OKRs from this department, this department, this department, so we can actually we'll actually be able to see the
Hey Tina,
measurements.
can you make note of that? It's a good suggestion.
Remember that that thermometer that we have over there by the kitchen.
That's a visual.
door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing too, but you need it for every department. Every
Yeah.
head leader needs to have an OKR for their department.
Tina,
and
are
then
you
you
there?
can train a video on how to get that information. And Kim knows how to do that, so Kim can be the teacher. She can do a class where all the leaders can meet and we can all learn how to do it for our department, how to find out our own. Because we're going over OKRs right now, key objectives. So that will help everybody, and that can be given at the monthly meeting.
Okay.
And that will help what you're talking about.
Carmen, are you able to make note of that?
I am here, and sorry, took me a while. So, what you were saying is that like every team needs to have like their own OKRs.
Team leader.
Yeah, team leader. That's what I heard down.
She talked about having a place to submit the engagement. We basically need a rhythm for identifying the engagement of each social platform.
So it needs to be a page per month that the team leaders do before the meeting, before the monthly meeting. It needs to be a form that they just fill out because it's too much they have to try to do report. But so it needs to just be like how many people, and then there a key at the bottom. How to do, most people know how to do percentages, but if they don't, it needs to have the formula at the bottom, how to do percentages, dividing and coming up with a number. That'll give us a percentage. So it needs to have that key resort at the bottom for all people, so new people come on, it's duplicable, they don't have to be told how to do it, it's all right.
So, yeah, we need to put some places in for measuring our posts on social media. See what works and why. Do more of what works and stop doing what doesn't work. Yeah. We gotta sit down and count the costs. We gotta take into account of what we have. But I want to get back on this onboarding checklist. So. I do see, much like how we have the webinar, there's different percentages for each step. We can do that for the people who enroll as well. However, a question that I have is, what about creating the checklist? Because honestly, if we don't have we don't have a, how do you call it? If we don't have a manual in place that teaches people how to do these things, there's no way we can bring people on to do something. You're going to have so many questions. So we need in order to grow the team, we need to put the entry-level systems there. But how do we measure what entry-level systems we need to identify and that we're actually moving forward? So the things that involves, let's say slide design. In doing slide design, we had to map out what are all the different skills that people need to know in order to produce a slide presentation. We created a template for a slide template that they could just duplicate for every presentation, just fill in the blank.
Oh, wow.
That really simplified things to keep things consistent. Otherwise, every designer has a different idea of what font they want to use and colors and whatever, and it looks messy. And then we identified, Rebecca and Tina recorded a short video on each type of slide, just so that they understand how to use that template, and then record videos on how to find the slides that need to be done, and from an outline, turn an outline into a slide presentation. That's a process. So there's I don't know, probably 15, 20 videos that were recorded in order to try to make that process for them. And we also took a couple of videos that got millions of views on YouTube that are all about best practices for slide design and industry standards that are just really well done. And then we created a question and answer, or a question comprehension quiz to make sure that they're on the same page and they understand, which that actually really seemed to help make sure people are clear on why we do what we do. and Leah was going through that. But the challenge was encouraging the people who have the skill to work with the people who don't have the skill. That has been a very difficult disconnect because they focus on the fear and the confusion, what they don't know, rather than what they have to offer. So it's a mindset shift, which is good. We got to do that. But what creating the onboarding checklist did is it allowed them to encapsulate those things that they would share with someone, and then it allowed Leah or any slide designer to literally, like, we can copy and paste. Like, your team has copied, they have access to the checklist, they copy that and they paste it to the new recruit, and the new recruit's able to go through, watch it, answer the question, hit check, watch, hit check, and they go through and you can see their progress. Yes?
Okay, so measurable, we're looking for measurable, right?
Yeah.
Measurable key results.
Yeah.
So, or objective key results. I like measurable. I don't know. Anyways, so looking at that in that situation, not just for each department, not just individual department.
Yes.
So what if that's part of the like that list, that checklist that they get, that on there, somewhere on there is for all the leaders should have their own, because they're head of a department, so it needs to be on another whole another page. But also, it can also be on their page too, on a new list one, is for them to actually spend 2 hours a week with their up link, their
direct reports?
their direct, whoever's their direct, with them. And so that on Discord, because
On
that
Discord.
that hands-on together really builds a team. Like, it is the team builder of all team builders.
Yeah.
And so if that's part of that, they're going to actually, the teachers will be able to just to say, okay, we're going to work on such and such, and they can just work on anything. Any kind of interaction is going to open more doors. It's going to create a lot of questions, which is great. That's how we're going to work out the bugs. It's also going to be a time for them to intermingle with their team, to be part of a real team.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to camaraderie, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to do a lot of really, really, really good things is by doing that. And the measurable part of that would be
The hours spent on Discord?
yes, it could be hours spent on Discord. But it's going to do a lot of good for us. It's going to do a really lot, because it's going to cause a lot of questions to come up, which those are roadblocks that we're going to be able to take care of, which are awesome. We look forward to those. Those are our comments. And the team, it's going to build the team really strong. We're going to have a strong team in each department.
I think that's good. That would make a huge difference with working together. Because people feel like they don't know. They have a hard time talking to strangers, and they feel that people on the team are strangers, which is not a good idea.
Right, and they won't feel like it and they'll become a team, and it'll make it easier for them to reach out.
Yeah, they'll
A
feel like
lot
friends.
easier. Yeah.
But we deal with a lot of socially awkward youth that are struggling to communicate with each other. You okay, Kathy?
Mm-hmm.
So, but although the hours on Discord is a good measurable, what about actually creating the checklist? Because that's still, I don't feel was really addressed.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
I'm sorry, hold on. Now, ask what again?
Hours spent on Discord was a good measurable for
Okay.
their communication.
Uh-huh.
But as far as creating the entry-level systems
Uh-huh.
and these onboarding checklists, that has been harder to measure.
Harder to measure? Okay.
I don't feel like that was addressed, and that was my
Okay.
question.
How do we address that? That would be,
That could be by number of videos that we record. It could, like, Rebecca's trying to do quote cards right now, and she is trying to put together a quote card designing checklist, teaching people how to do that. She mapped out at least 7 different videos she wants to use, and she's like, okay, I could probably do a video a day for a week and record a bunch of them. But the thing about these, so she would want to do that, and there's like 5 people on the team that are like, look, I really am anxious to create quote cards, I want to help with these are so encouraging and a blessing to me, I want to get involved, but they have no ability to get involved because the only person who knows how to do it is Rebecca, and she is uncomfortable talking on the camera, but she's doing it, and she's learning. She's a quick learner and very capable. Towards the beginning, I mean, I've been talking to her about training people for a while, but it's just trying to piece those things together.
So the measurable would not be with her specifically, to be honest with you. What would have to be would be whoever's in charge of checking the departments, and it being on a measurable one for that department, because she can't say, well, I've done this. Well, she can tell us what she did, but we should have a checklist on whoever's watching over each department and saying, okay, so our objective was by this month we have 9 such and such. Well, the key objective is, did the management department get a hold of Rebecca, and that's measurable. How many times did that person reach out to Rebecca this week? And did the reports get completed? It should have something, not the reports from the management side, not from Rebecca. So this helps Rebecca meet her
Rebecca's
goal.
the graphic design
Right.
team leader.
Right, and that's fine. But there has to be somebody above that, which that's been you, which that is a little bit hard for you to do that because you're setting up the system, which you're more of the computer part, but somebody needs to be in charge of calling each one of these people, and I think I said that I would like to do that because I like doing that stuff, and have a work thing where we say, hey, did you reach that goal this week? How do you feel about that? Where are you at on that? And that's measurable. So at the end of the month, we can encourage, and we can also say, okay, well, this is the deadline we really need on this one right here. So we can really help that person reach their goal and ask them what we can do to help, because that's really going to be our measurable, is what we can bring to the report at the end of the month. That's our measurable. So she's not going to be able to come up with it, but whoever is in charge of watching her, that's going to be our measurable sheet that we can use to actually see where we're going and if we're reaching our goals. Am I saying that right? And does that make any sense? And is that something that would really
It
work?
makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
I think that would be great to have your help with following up with people, because
Well, and so now, talking about that, because I would really like to do that, because I really like doing that stuff, and
That's
I
good.
love doing
Right.
reports, but I need somebody that will help me. You're teaching me how to use the computer. That's my biggest struggle. It causes me to go, I don't know. Like, and
Get
I'm
stuck.
That's a problem. I mean, I'm used to paperwork. It's easy for me to flip through and keep
Yeah.
folders. But now that I have a folder, I can actually. I need somebody just to say, okay, Kathy's doing it when I get those calls. Those things really help me to know when the events are, not events, meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives me my deadlines, so I can have my stuff together. And I need somebody just to call and say, where are we at on that? Because sometimes it feels like, well, it's covered, so why should I have to do it? He already got it handled, and so blah blah blah. I don't know, but I've been really slack, to be honest with you, just because of my craziness. But that. You and whoever I'm working with, I have to have somebody that I can talk to, that I can say, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is where I'm struggling. Where do I need to go? Because I need to have these forms, and I would like to have a checklist. So, and setting up those checklists is going to be important. So I would need somebody to work with me. So it's because I do better when I bounce off of somebody than just like right now. This is good.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah, and so to get those checklists together so I can call these people, and so I know what I'm talking about when I call them, because I can't call them right now because I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't even know the right terminology.
Well, I can help you with that. I can help you with knowing what are the goals with the people on the team, and helping you know the terminology to follow up with them, to encourage them, and touch bases with them to see what if they're moving forward on there. That would be really helpful. That's like the project manager type thing.
I love that stuff. So if I had a worksheet for each department, that would I could call them and I could go through it and I could do my checklist, and then at the end of it I can tell you, I can just send you a note, say, hey, we're struggling in this one area.
So we can get together and identify what information needs to be put together
Okay.
for each department. Like you're saying, a checklist for each department. I don't exactly know what that entails, but
Well-
we could do that.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable. One thing that I learned just about me with, I think a week or two ago, it was that there are like different parts of running a business or an organization.
Mhm.
There's like that. There's the entrepreneurial side where you're just like make a decision, taking risk, and just try and like taking on different things. There's the talent side
Right.
for whatever it might be, like teaching, speaking, or writing, or creating, designing, whatever. There is the and there's the management side, the leadership side. That's kind of like just working with the different people, making sure things. And I realized that like though there's different areas, roles that hats that I can fill, the area where I believe that I bring the most value is in like the talent side, is communicating and speaking and teaching. That's what energizes me and that I enjoy the most. Managing people is draining and taxing to me, and I feel it distracts me from from doing the thing that like where I bring the most contribution to the world and to the organization. Yeah, so I was praying that God would help to provide someone who's able to help with managing and working with the people and making sure things are functioning well. Because
Well, if you like teaching, that's what I need, because I need pages. So, because I do better, at what your objective is, because like when events, I have to know what you want so I can put the things together.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're working together, we can put it there and then we can target it, and it'll be easier for me, because then I don't feel like I'm like, okay, because I don't know anything about any of these departments. But if I have a checklist that I'm trying to make sure that these things are covered, then I'm like, okay, so where are we? And eventually it'll come to me. But there's so much, it's such a mass quantity of information, mass quantity for somebody that's not a computer guru.
yeah, I just need to focus on giving you the higher levels, so you have like the high concepts 1st.
Mhm.
That's not all detailed,
Mhm.
and be careful not to go so deep at the beginning. And just when you
Okay.
get the overview, it's easy to grasp.
Oh, is it? Okay.
When you get just one level lower and a little bit more detailed, it's easier. Just repeat and enlarge, and you'll be able to get things. But
Okay.
just focusing on the
Awesome.
overview, that will
Okay.
help the most.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I need to master that. That needs to be a master part.
What
Before I
is
take
just
notes,
the overview?
just the overview,
Oh,
yeah, and learning to use the words for the terminology, like that thing.
We have a watchword
Watchword
list of watchwords too.
And is that on
Notion.
Is it on Notion on our left-hand side?
Not unless you put it there.
No. Well, do you think our other people will need that eventually or not?
I think so. I have a home page
A
on
home
Notion
page.
for the
Home
whole
page.
ministry that gives
Okay.
access to the most relevant and important pages
Okay.
in an organized way. It just I haven't worked on it since Norman and I were doing it, and
Okay.
so no one really has access to that.
Okay.
Although I want them to be able to see it. But the reason why we're trying to get together is so that we can together develop a skill to identify specific measurables. And I don't feel like we really accomplished that during this conversation.
Sorry, it's my fault.
Well, it's. I think it's. I don't think you necessarily have to apologize. I mean, we got good examples, which is one of the things I want to do, is identify what are the examples here. But you kind of told us what they could be, and not so much how to find them, because we really need to find.
How did he give you examples to find them? What did he say?
He
How?
was going through the sheet that I was going through.
But he didn't give examples.
Yeah, he gave
Oh,
examples.
did I miss it? Okay.
No, we just didn't get to that part yet. Oh, yeah, you missed it on Thursday. I talked
Oh,
about
sorry.
it.
Sorry. Sorry.
But we're going to go through it again.
Yeah, that's what we were going through.
I'm going to be quiet for a long time. I'm just going to listen for a while. Sorry.
No, you don't necessarily have to do that. But this, I just figure if we understand some more pieces of the puzzle, something will click in our minds, and we'll be able to start applying these things. That's my hope. You guys want to keep going?
Yep. I do.
Maybe we should stand up and breathe and stretch for a moment.
I'm excited right now.
I'm excited too. How about we all stand up and we just take a quick breather and maybe drink some water.
Alrighty. You need some more?
I guess I better go get some water. Is this kind of like regrouping?
I guess so.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to get sidetracked. I just get so excited.
No, I hear you. I'm excited about. I think we covered good grounds. I just want to be careful that when we're talking about things that involve everybody here,
Oh, gotcha.
because there's not only the people in the room, but there's people online and people are tuning in.
Okay. I thought it was going with it, but I guess my
No. I think you were going with it. We covered good grounds. How you doing, Cameron?
I'm tired.
Tired. Why are you tired? Cause you just ate. You gotta walk.
I could be contributing.
Could be contributing.
I want to start sleeping at 9.
Yeah.
I want to start sleeping at 9.
That sounds good. I can help remind you at 9 to go to sleep.
No, that means I need to be in my room at 8:30.
Oh, okay. Well, I can start reminding you at 8:30.
I appreciate that. Thank you.